After 6 weeks of short tracks and road course racing, these truck drivers are back at a mile-and-a-half track tonight. Texas Motor Speedway is the venue for tonight's race for the 3-Wide Racing eSports League. Welcome on in Evolution Racing Network alongside Michael Sheffield. I'm Steve Kerpel. And Mike, I want to get right into you. We're finally back to a mile-and-a-half. We haven't been here since the opening week with this series. Cookie cutter track. The last time we ran a mile-and-a-half was at Atlanta. Similar track as far as the shape, but as far as the racing will go, we're definitely going to see a little bit different type of racing here tonight at Texas. Tell the guys at home, what to expect out here tonight.
There are a lot of similarities here between Atlanta and Texas, but it's going to be a little bit more exciting for me race. Anytime we run the trucks or get to see the trucks, it's one of my favorite vehicles in the sport. But Texas, with a little bit more depth than 1 and 2, is going to be the major difference here tonight. Is the driver that's going to be able to maintain the most momentum getting through 1 and 2 throughout the tire run. I think is going to be the one you're going to see up front in the end. 3 and 4, pretty much basic same cookie cutter setup. There is somewhat seems to be a trough in 3 and 4 that if you can keep your truck at the right speed and maintain the bottom run 3 and 4, that's going to be the major difference here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We're in for a treat tonight. Finally back to a mile-and-a-half after some, couple road courses, couple short tracks. So I'm excited to see what these guys do. And I'm excited to see, Mike, if anybody can knock AJ DeMarzo off that pedestal. 4 wins already on the season. I mean, he is just looking unstoppable to this point.
Yeah, he's setting up so far a pretty dominant season. You've had quite a few trucks that have been up front all season long, and just string of bad luck or just caution coming out at the wrong time has messed up their flow. But things can turn around at any point in the season. So it's going to be entertaining to see how things pan out over the next few weeks.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Tonight's race, we're scheduled for 80 laps here tonight at Texas. These guys will have one fast repair as always, and they will have 3 extra sets of tires in the pits. And, we're looking at, let's take a quick look at our race info here tonight. Mike, we got 67 degrees in the air temp, which is going to give us 68 on the track. 10 miles an hour wind, which is going to keep this track pretty cool. So grip shouldn't be an issue here tonight. And with the tire sets, fuel, I want to say ballpark should be looking at around 45 to 50 laps of green flag run on the fuel window.
Yeah, you're looking about 45 to 50 laps. Draft will take a major fact here in the early part of the night. Once trucks get single file, that the guy in front or the guy leading the draft is going to have a little bit more fuel burn than anybody else. And as you mentioned, the grip level is going to be good. And if the temperature drops, the track's going to get even grippier. So I'm interested to see what that's going to do with tire wear. And then you mentioned 45 to 50 laps. We got an 80-lap race tonight. Pit strategy is going to come into play here.
Yeah, absolutely. As we have switched on over to qualifying, you're looking at the number 19 Randy Coaching, running that USA-inspired Chevy Silverado, looking to put down a pretty good time. Lays down a 30.30 on his first lap. And these guys should be able to get those times down into the 29s, Mike. I think you're going to see your out laps, your throwaway laps get a little bit of heat in the tires, but we should be able to see some times down here in the 29s.
Yeah, early in the run, and especially qualifying, you're going to be able to your first lap with green tires, you're not going to be able to stick 1 and 2 as well. Build up your speed a little bit in 3 and 4. I'm looking at the 28 of George Rincon right now, running a little bit of the high side through 3 and 4. Get that speed up, and the second lap, you should be able to stick 1 and 2 further down the bottom. That's going to really help your time on your second lap.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. As Randy will lay down about a 30-second flat, 30.020. He is your pole sitter as we speak right now. We got about 16 guys in the field tonight. Nine of them so far have put times in. We're going to take a look at some of these guys as we look at Mike Average as he comes down, crosses the line, and he will improve up to third with a 30.19. So good time, and there we go, our first driver to lay down a sub 30 lap time, and that's John Kaya, put in a 29.84.
Yeah, that's a great lap time. I was gonna say probably 29 high sevens, 29 eights around here would be probably your pole sitter here. And like we said, you'll be able to get that good run, during qualifying. These guys aren't gonna quite burn the truck up that much when we hit the green flag.
Yeah, and we see Ernest King right there get pretty darn close, running a 29.99. He will be right now, well, he was until William George just laid down a 29.98. So these guys are running some very, very close times right now. We're going to take a look at newcomer right now, Caleb Ellswick. Out on track in a number 66. Looks like Food City Chevrolet right there. That's actually a nice looking paint, Mike. I'm interested to see what this kid can do out here.
Yeah, very clean looking paint. Like you said, first time I've seen him here. Let's see what he can lay down here in qualifying. As now look at the board, and AJ DeMarzo is taking the pole.
Absolutely. We see the man himself in that 5 debuting a brand new paint. I'm sure we'll showcase that tonight. AJ DeMarzo will be your pole sitter with a 29.81 out of the gates. Kind of waited till later in the qualifying session to go ahead and get out there and lay down his time, Mike. And AJ shown once again that he's put in a lot of practice, especially at these mile and a halves, and we'll see. Is there anybody out there that could top this kid? I mean, he's having a stellar year. He's got 4 wins, and he's just looking for more.
Oh yeah, he's just. I mean, if you're in the groove, get everything while you can, because you never know. Sometimes luck change, and other guys, like I said, have been running up front and just haven't been able to close it out. So we'll see what happens here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're ready to get this thing kicked off, we will have your starting lineup here in just a minute, and this should be a really fun race. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this thing, Mike. I'm ready to get this thing kicked off, and let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the starting lineup here tonight. And on the pole, out of California in that 5 truck, running a 29.81, AJ DeMarzio. On his outside will be the 99 of John Kaya. Row number 2, Nick Rader in that 88. On his outside will be the 9 of William George. Row number 3, Ernest King in a 24. Good time for him. Randy coaching in a 19. He'll start 6th tonight. Row number 4, Robert DuPont in that 7 truck. And he'll have Carlos Ramos on his outside. He'll roll off 8th. And Mike, why don't you take us the rest of the way?
Starting 9th will be Mike Everidge in the number 82. Outside will be Andrew Hefner in the number 46. Starting 11th will be Matthew Jagger in the number 2. Robert McMillan in the number 8 will be your 12th place starter. Cornelius Brown in the number 98 will be 13th. George Rincon in the 28 will be 14th. 15th goes to Caleb Ellswick in the number 66. David Connell in the number 64 will be 16th. And rounding out your field will be Peter Harbor in the number 444, starting 17th.
And that will be your starting lineup for tonight's SpeedyCash.com 220 here from Texas Motor Speedway. We're going to get things cranking up. These guys are going to roll off pit road, do their 1 formation lap here, and we're going to drop the green flag for 80 laps here tonight. We did mention these guys do have 3 extra sets of pits, 3 extra sets of tires in the pits tonight. They run 100% fuel load, and if we stay green, somewhere in the 40 to 50 lap range is your fuel window. As pace car gets rolling down pit road, AJ DeMarzio is going to have the honors once again to bring them down, Mike. And you know what? I expect a very clean race tonight. We've been very impressed with these guys. Even running the more technical tracks, short tracks, road courses. So I expect a lot of green flag runs, but exciting racing once the green flag drops.
Yeah, I'm expecting some tight, close racing tonight. As you said, I've been highly impressed at how clean the racing has been all season long. As you mentioned, pit stops are going to come into play, and if you kind of going to want to undercut it some, but you're not going to be by yourself. You're going to want to have somebody to draft with when you come out of the pits. To get that little bit of an advantage over the guys that haven't pitted yet. So it's going to be, you know, barring any caution, I expect, pitting, like we mentioned, around probably the halfway point. Maybe somebody's going to try to undercut it just a little bit, but they want to have that window there for a couple extra laps in case we do have a green white checker.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point. Drafting is going to be huge here tonight as we're back to a mile and a half where the draft actually really comes into play as these guys come out of turn number 4. iRacing.com pace car is on pit road. AJ DiMarzio will lead them down. It's Tuesday night, folks. Let's go to work. 3 wide racing. We are green from Texas Motor Speedway.
And AJ DiMarzio has got a good start up to the front. KO sticking to his outside right here. I expect DiMarzio to probably have the advantage coming out of 1 and 2 as he does. You should see these trucks start to get single file here in the next couple laps.
Yeah, we did see at the drop of the green flag, I do believe it was Mike Everidge that I don't know if he got loose coming through the quad over there, but green tires pushed him off track. It's showing him down on pit road right now, but that's the thing, with the cool track temperature, you got to let the heat build up on these tires as AJ's already out to a little bit of a lead here.
Yeah, and some of these iRacing vehicles, especially at this track, depending on the tire wear, will get loose coming through that tri-oval, and especially green tires, or as you mentioned initially on the start, the track isn't quite tackied up enough yet, so those green tires are really going to have effect on the truck.
Yeah, it's going to take probably a good 5 laps to get, everybody settled in, and the trucks start to handle pretty good as we are under our first caution here tonight. And we're going to try to see if we can't track that down. I want to say it is the 64 of David Connell, but we're gonna see if we can find that for you here. As the 64 and the 444 running very tight, and yeah, they get tangled up going through the quad oval. And the 64 goes around, bringing out our first caution here tonight. And you know what, Mike? They kind of it was just like a little tap that kind of just sent them around. I don't think we're going to see a ton of damage out of him, and I think he's going to be okay. But we are working our first caution here tonight, and it is between the 444 of Peter Harborough and the 64 of David Connell.
Yeah, it's just coming through that quad over there. It's very tight. Inside, outside, 2 trucks there, just the same piece of real estate at the same time. As you mentioned, not a ton of damage to the 64. It looks like some damage on the driver's side rear corner panel, but I don't think that's going to be too much more than cosmetic. He'll probably come in and probably look at the repair time, and I don't know if he'll use that fast repair or not here, but later in the run, the aero, that may play an effect on the truck.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Well, we are under caution for the first time here tonight. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the 3 Wide Racing Esports League live here on Evolution Racing Network. Welcome back in, Sim Racing fans. We are serving our first caution here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway. And you know what, Mike? I wasn't surprised to not see anybody come down pit road for how early this race is. But we're gonna have to see. We kind of figured on, me and you were talking before the race, that coming through that quad oval is probably the hardest part of running this track, because it's very tight. It's pretty much just meant for two trucks to get through. It's not like running down through the turns. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that quad oval. I think if we see a lot of cautions, I think that's probably where it's going to come from.
Yeah, and you're going to see a lot of moves be initiated there, especially if you're able to draft through 3 and 4 and get that setup going into turn 1. And that's what makes it difficult coming through that quad oval, is trying to get two trucks through there. And it's a sharp, I wouldn't say sharp, but it's not a round corner there. So it adds a little bit of difficulty, and two trucks side by side, and the truck on the outside, the way that wall comes through there, it's a little deceiving at times.
Yeah, absolutely. As lights are off on the iRacing.com pace car, so we'll be going back green this time by. And, pretty much everybody's still out on the track. Mike Average showing a couple of laps down from the early incident he had. And David Connell probably went in. I don't think he used the fast repair. He was on pit road for 14 seconds, so I think he just maybe had a little bit of optional repair to get done. But we're gonna see how things go here. We're gonna get back underway, and these tires are gonna have to get reacclimated to doing some racing. But Mike, I'm gonna let you take us green here.
Yeah, we're coming around right now through 3 and 4. Lights are off in the pace car. Should be seeing that drop and see how quick AJ DiMarzio gets it to the gas here. And he gets a good jump. He's going to jump out front here with Nick Radar. In second, you got the 99 of John Kaya, who still looks like he's going to be on the inside up. They go single file as we're coming into turn 1.
Yeah, AJ, very good launch. Went early, like I think we'll see for most of this race. The early jump always kind of pays off and keeps everybody else on their toes, especially if we have a late race caution. But AJ, as he comes down into turn number 3 there, looking, pretty comfortable. We're single file pretty much back through the majority of the field right now.
Yeah, you're going to see, with that big jump, but you're going to see this pack of trucks just catching because of this draft. They stay single file, they'll catch up to him, and the question is how long before somebody tries to make a move to get up front. As we mentioned earlier, 45 50 lap fuel run, if you're the lead truck in the draft, the guys behind you are saving a little bit of fuel.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. Yeah, you're out in front, you're getting that clean air, but you're also burning the most fuel. And that's something to think about, if we do get a long green flag run, especially in the second half of the race, where, we're thinking 45 to 50 laps, so one stop should do it here tonight. But if for some reason our math is off, that, being that lead car and burning that extra fuel could come back to bite you in the end.
Yeah, and I'm expecting, probably about 20, 30 laps in, you're going to start seeing the gaps between the trucks kind of get a little bit more separated. And the draft, not quite as big of a factor. Is somebody's able to save enough tire here, they're going to have that momentum, especially going through, as I mentioned earlier, 1 and 2. That turn here being a little bit deeper into the corner towards the inside wall is going to play a huge factor on, how much speed you're going to be able to maintain and the momentum going through there.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're taking a look right now, the 99 of John Kaya, he's actually fallen 2 spots from the drop of this thing. I think he's just trying to get that truck under him and trying to figure out the track, because this is a track where, turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are like worlds apart, Mike.
Yeah, and 3 and 4, like I mentioned earlier in the run, you can keep it matted pretty well through 3 and 4, but as the run goes on, that truck is going to start pushing up in the center to the exit of the corner, forcing you to that wall. So I think the driver that can capitalize, maybe lift a little bit earlier and get it and maintain that bottom line and get that low run off is going to be a huge factor here tonight. Is it looks like Kay is making a move back for third again on the inside of 3 and 4.
Yeah, he will run side by side with the 9 of William George, and it looks like John Kay is going to be able to grab third back as they come out of turn number 4. And, AJ feeling pretty good out there, but that 88 Nick Rader, he's got help behind him to try to push him up, and they'll use that draft, and we'll see. We've mentioned it, in many races this season so far, that Nick Rader and that 88, probably the hungriest driver in this field, Michael, for a win.
Yeah, he has been up front pretty much week in and week out, and just for some reason unable to capitalize. I mean, it's almost reminiscent of Senior trying to get the win at Daytona. How many years was he up front and just couldn't get it to happen? So luck has a huge factor into this, and when you break that ice, who knows what's going to happen the rest of the season after if he gets that first win. So
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I want to spotlight a driver right now, and that's going to be the 66 right here of Caleb Ellswick. We mentioned during qualifying, new driver to the series, and he is up, Michael. He's up 6 spots from the drop of the screen flag, currently running in the 9th position. So for first run, right out of the gates, up 6 spots. Yeah, we're only 16 laps into it, but he's got to be feeling pretty good about himself right now.
yeah, he's got to be feeling pretty good, and he's probably trying to get adjusted to running with the guys. And as we've talked about in other races during the season, as the season runs on, you're going to get even more familiar with the guys around you, and you learn how they drive typically. Meaning, any I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but you learn the style of driving they are, whether they're long run, with their short run. How they are on old tires, how they are on new tires, what lines they typically prefer. There's little things you pick up and hints around other drivers when you run with them on a weekly basis that kind of clues you into what to expect, I guess you could say, out of them.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys. I'll tell you what, these guys do a stellar job week in and week out. I know these guys put in a lot of practice, especially especially the tracks they're unfamiliar with. I remember when we were going to Canadian Tire, these guys put in countless laps of practice, and it amounted to a very, very good race, very entertaining race. So my hats off to these guys who have they're all fairly new to the sim, Mike, and these guys are devoted to get used to running around each other and bettering themselves. And I mean, it's really just translated to some awesome racing out on the track, as these top 3 right now. I mean, we are locked in a battle right here with the 5 AJ DeMarzo, the 88 Nick Rader, and the 99 John Kaya, and add William George into this party. These guys are running tight, they're running close, and we're just gonna have to see if anybody tries to go ahead and make a move.
Yeah, and going back to what you were talking about, these guys put in a load of practice every week. Looking at their Discord, it's impressive at the amount of practice these guys put in week after week after week. And with the amount of practice, and we mentioned it earlier, AJ's kind of set himself up towards the front, in the points here. But with the amount of laps and practices, it would not surprise me to see any of these guys put themselves in victory lane here any week at any time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, yeah, AJ, I think, has kind of been, obviously he's very good, right place, right time in a lot of these races, but it would be almost impossible to go into a race and say, what, I guarantee that this driver's going to win tonight, because the level of talent is very good. We've seen Nick Rader up there, every week.
Oh, we got an incident here.
Oh, yeah, we got trouble on the front stretch, the 42. And I believe we are going to stay green, Michael. I think these guys did get caught. Were able to get the trucks back under them, but we will stay green. I know the 42 was involved.
It looked like, I happen to be looking at the 19 got maybe just a little loose, lost some speed there, and it was 2 trucks coming behind him side by side, and it was not. I don't think it just became one of those situations. There was nowhere anybody could go there.
Yeah, so we do stay green, so those guys are going to have to come down pit road under green to get some of that damage fixed. But while we were looking at that, John Kaya was able to make his way around Nick Rader, and what do you know? He's got the bead on AJ, and new race leader as they come to the line will be the 99 of John Kaya.
Yeah, it's going to be some shuffling here, and I'm wondering how much they're actually, gonna fight for that lead right now this early in the run, and trying to get out front, and who wants to save a little bit of fuel and who wants to try to save a little bit of tire here. So I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of battling, fighting inside outside for any position at this stage in the race.
Yeah, I really wouldn't think you would, especially because, these four trucks up here, Kay, DeMarzo, Raider, and George, they're holding about a 2 second advantage on the next pack. Actually, just the next car, which is the 24 of Ernest King. So they have plenty of distance. They really don't have much to worry about. So if I were these guys, I'd run a little spread out. Stay in the draft. Run good laps, and just take some laps off. Because we're only 26 of 80 right now, and there's no point of really burning the tires up. Just to gain one position. I mean, if I'm these guys, I'm just gonna hang back, stay in line, stay in the draft, and until it's time, I'm pretty content where they're running right now.
Yeah, but looking at the times now, Ernest King has been able to run some faster laps than those four guys up front. And at the pace he's going, I expect him, hoping he can close in here and catch up with those top four. Looking at the lap times here, but I'm just, be concerned with, how much tire wear that's going to cost him trying to get up there.
Right, that's the thing. Running a faster lap time means you're probably driving the truck a little harder than you really need to, especially at this stage of the race. And I get it. I know you want to get up there and catch the pack. That's everybody would probably think the same thing. But you don't want to be burning your tires up. We still got anywhere between 15 to 20 laps until it's going to be time to come down pit road and pit, especially if we stay green here. So something we want to keep an eye on. Will Ernest try to burn the tires up and catch that pack, or just be okay running where he's running?
Well, I'm just looking right now at the 99 John Kay at the line. He's running at 1 and 2, and he's able to get it to the bottom of the track, get the truck rotated really well, and get a nice run off 1 and 2, and maintain it. Been able to stick it, as I mentioned earlier, in the bottom of 3 and 4, and his lap times are showing it. And he looks like he's still building a little bit of a gap over the next three trucks. I saw, the 88 of Nick Rader get a little loose there, coming off a couple of laps ago. So everybody's trying to find that line. They're probably searching right now to figure out where they're going to get the most speed and where they're going to not, how the tire wear is. You see some trucks running a little bit higher in 1 and 2, and some trucks are running the bottom there.
Yeah, and that's where you're really gonna make your money right there. Is if you're able to stick it in 1 and 2 and get that power drive off like we're seeing John Kay able to do, and I mean it's paying dividends for him. He's already stretched that lead out to about 1.3 seconds right now, as we've got looks like the 21 of Carlos Ramos, very very loose in the turn 3, and it looks like the 7 of DuPont actually made a little bit of contact with the rear end, but they were all able to keep it straight, and they're all running a little bit bunched up back here, towards the towards the back up the mid pack right now, and we'll have to keep an eye on these battles back here. Also,
yeah, that battle seems around like 7th place, and it looked like maybe the truck got a little loose, and that's another factor here when you're that close together. What the aero effect is going to have on your truck with the truck in the draft right behind you, especially as tire wear goes. It won't take a lot. These trucks loose. The only question now is the damage on the 7. Hopefully, it did not cause any radiator damage, and he's going to have to watch his temps here.
Yeah, and we have the 5 of AJ DeMarzo is on pit road right now, a lot earlier than I anticipated. And we do see now that Ernest King in the 24, he's coming down pit road. So these guys are coming down a little bit earlier than we had thought, Michael. But I believe that these are all going to be scheduled pit stops, as we have, a lot of guys are on pit road's a very busy place right now.
Yeah, that's a huge undercut, and if that pays off, it's going to be a good undercut for him. With 50 lap fuel run, that's going to be cutting it close to, lap 83, 84. In my math, we're showing 45 to 50. Maybe you can get 51 out of it. But I'm just curious now as to see how long John Kaya stays out with these new tires coming out.
Yeah, I mean we're seeing a better part of the field, all about 5 or 6 guys on pit road with fresh tires back out on the track, and that brings up a good point. If you're John Kay, you can't stay out too long because these guys are going to track you down, and it's going to be bad. The only thing. And I think John might be just trying to burn a couple laps off to see if he could get a caution and, maybe trap some of these guys a lap down.
Yeah, you've got 5 cars now that have not pitted yet, and John. The only problem is if he doesn't get that caution, what time they make up on the track now is time he's going to lose to him on pit road. So, yes, he's going to have 6, 7 lap newer tires, which may pay off huge dividends in the end. And that's the thing with the undercut is you get the advantage now, whereas that truck's going to have that waits later is going to have the advantage over the long run.
Right. And seeing these guys, pretty much everybody came in between lap 30 and 32. My concern with those guys is, did they come in too early? As we got trouble right behind the 99 Achaia, we've got a car spinning, and we are still green, and now we are under caution. I believe that was the 8 of Robert McMillan, and hey for John Kaya. We just spoke about it. He's gonna be able to trap a big portion of his field lap down, but let's go back and see if we can see what happened there.
Yeah, it looks like the 8 was coming in the corner there and got a little loose. As we mentioned earlier, that truck rotating, and looks like he got a little close to the white line at the bottom, and maybe, it looks like he had just a little bump from behind, and that was just enough to spin him all the way around.
Yeah, and then hard rear end damage against that outside wall. So that 8 is definitely
And
gonna
then
need.
after that, looks like there's contact between the 5 and the 8 as he's trying to get spun back around.
Yeah, the 5 of AJ DeMarzo. The 8's just trying to get spun back around, and oh wow, very very hard impact from the 5 of AJ DeMarzo, as the 8 is trying to regain its position on the track and get back going. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that with that 5 truck. I believe he'll probably go down and use a fast repair, as as it's no surprise to 99 John Kay on pit road right now. And we'll have to see. Does AJ go down? He's showing on pit road right now, so he's definitely getting some damage fixed. But under our second caution here tonight, Michael, and we're seeing the green flag race that we thought we would. We're having a couple cautions here and there, but for the most part, I mean, this is going to be huge for John Kay right now. He's going to trap a good portion of this field, a lap down.
Yeah, and then this is the thing with Texas too, especially like as we mentioned 1 and 2. There's a truck down at the bottom. It is hard to see them until you're in the corner. If you're behind somebody, it's just impossible to see them until you're on top of them. It was just an unfortunate situation, with AJ in the wrong spot at the wrong time there, and just was unable to avoid it.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to see how that plays out. Well, we're working our second caution here. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back to get your green flag action. Stay with us.
I started Folds of Honor above my garage 13 years ago because 90% of spouses and children of killed or disabled U.S. service members receive no federal education assistance. Our mission has never wavered. We honor their sacrifices by educating their legacy.
Thank you for supporting the Folds of Honor.
Thank you for supporting the Fold of Honor.
Thanks to you, I will be a construction engineer.
An elementary school teacher.
Thank you for helping me fulfill my dream of going to med school.
We're able to award these scholarships because patriots like you refuse to turn your back on the cost of freedom. Join the Folds of Honor Squadron today. Your $13 a month will help ensure we never turn military families away. This is your call to duty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for supporting the Folds of Honor.
Thanks to people like you, I know my dad is not forgotten.
I started Folds of Honor above my garage.
Welcome back in, Sim Racing fans. We're on our second caution here tonight. The 8 of McMillan gets turned around and collects the 5 of AJ DeMarzo, who is still down on pit road, Mike. And, that 5, but I'll tell you what, tough break for him. And, we're going to have to see if he could recover from that. He's going to be, a few laps down here, and he's going to need a couple cautions to help out his case.
Yeah, and it looks like a lot of trucks are going to get a lap back here. That'll cycle a lot of them back around to the lead lap. So should balance everything back out with the 99 Achaia going in. It allowed those trucks, looks like they'll be able to get their lap back here. So it'll cycle everything back around, should.
Yeah, it looks like 1st through 8th should be all on the lead lap. They'll get the wave around as they are out in front of John Kaya right here. And, John Kaya, I'll tell you what, a lot of these guys are benefiting from this caution. Obviously, John, able to go and go down on pit road. Randy coaching, very, very, very beneficial for him as well, because he stayed out and was banking on running a little bit longer, and that bumps him up all the way up to 2nd right now, and now he's got fresh tires on.
Yeah, as you see the trucks lining up now, and double foul here as the lights are out. Looks like we're going to be going to green this time by.
Yeah, lights are out on the iRacing.com pace car. They'll be double file 2x2. John Kay will be your control car as he selects the bottom lane to get this thing going. And we see the 19 Randy coaching, a little bit of spoiler damage. I want to keep an eye on that as this race progresses. And, it's just kind of see how he does as pace car dips down on a pit road. 99 on the loud pedal. We are back green here from Texas.
And as we mentioned earlier with the wave rounds, that's going to put those guys behind the lap trucks, or the trucks lap down right now, and they're going to have a lot of ground to make up here in the next 40 laps.
Yeah, that's a very good point. As we see these guys trying to jostle for some positions up here towards the front. Those guys, 46 Andrew Hefner, we see him. He's a lap down. He's going to work pretty hard to try to get around that 99 and get that lap back. But at the same time, you got to try to be a little respectful and not take any of these leaders out right here. But 46
the 19 has a moment there in 1 and 2. He gets loose, still trying to keep
hard contact into the wall. We're going to be under caution.
Trucks.
That is going to collect a ton of guys, and we're going to have to go back and see who got collected into that. As let's go to the replay here. As you see the 19 coming down, and he just kind of gets a little loose, Mike, as he kind of just spins it around here, and
it's like a little contact with the 5, which ricochets to looks like the 66.
Yeah,
and
we're
it
gonna.
just it just collected a bunch of people behind that. But
Yeah, we're gonna take a look. The 88 of Nick Rader here, as you know, he's behind all of this as it's happening, and I think he got the bad end of it. Yeah, he did hard contact. The 5 is gonna get in it. The 88, the 9. A lot of these guys who were really contenders in this thing now caught up in this. Now AJ, he probably used that fast repair, so I'm curious to see what the rest of his night's going to look like.
yeah, I'm still looking at the call and a really really hard contact with the 88 in the outside wall there.
Yeah, the 88 Nick Rader, he's definitely going to have some damage to get fixed, and we'll have to see how this kind of plays out. The guys up front are your your beneficiaries once again. Being ahead of the action, and the 99 of John Kea still doing okay.
It's going to cycle Ernest King up to second.
Yeah. I was just looking at that. Ernest King up to second, and that's going to bring George Rincon up there. Also, he's going to be up. He started 14th, so he's actually going to bump all the way up to fourth. So
it's going to move him to our biggest mover of the race so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of these guys really, with the way these cautions are kind of lining up, and the pit stops and all that, a lot of these guys who are running, towards the back are now finding themselves up, running with the leaders.
Yeah, we're looking at about 35. It'd be 35 to go this time by at the line. Not sure if this is going to be 2 or 1 to go here.
Yeah, as we did see, Ernest King and Robert DuPont both came down pit road, and I'm curious if they went down pit road because they want to stretch this out, get fresh tires. I honestly, I don't hate the call. We haven't run a ton of laps green since the last pit stop. But that's going to give them the freshest tires out there, and if you have 3 sets, I mean, you can't take them home. You might as well use them up.
Yeah, and if you still got any damage on the truck and you haven't used your fast repair, now might be a good time to capitalize and use it, or get what repair, what damage you can get repaired. Go ahead and get it fixed now. While you're under caution, should help you out in the long run here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got bunch of guys down on pit road definitely getting some damage fixed. It looks like the 21 of Ramos, the 88 of Raider coaching, Dave Connell, AJ, all on pit road for several minutes so far. And we kind of figured that after that last caution. And I mean, it's a heartbreaker, especially for AJ running up towards the front, and he's been so dominant. But it looks like, barring anything crazy, Mike, I think we're going to be crowning ourselves a different winner than the number 5 here tonight, which is unfortunate, obviously, but given a lot of these other guys who've been running pretty good all year a chance to get up there and try to win themselves a race.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, it wouldn't surprise me, any of these guys in the top 5, top 6, being able to capitalize and get a win here tonight. Definitely a podium finish here, but like I mentioned, with the amount of practice that these guys put in, I mean, some of these guys might have prepared themselves for waiting to the last minute, or waiting to the last 20 laps to really put that run together. They know when their truck's the best, they know where it's the best. So it's the thing with Texas is, as I mentioned earlier, is being able to capitalize at the right moment with the tires that you've got.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and that brings up a good point. Out of everybody that's going to be on a lead lap, which is going to be, I believe, 6 trucks, 2 two of these guys have wins. John Kay, your race leader, and the 46, Andrew Hefner right now. But I mean, that opens up a world of possibilities. We see Ernest King's been pretty consistent. George Rincon been trying to get himself up there for a win, and then some guys we don't really talk about on a weekly basis. Running in third right now, up 10 spots. Cornelius Brown in 98, and Robert DuPont there in the 7th. So, as we see the pace car dip down on pit road, and John Kay is very, very early on the gas. We'll take the green flag as we are back green here, working lap number 48. John Kay takes him down into turn number 1.
Yeah, and George Rincon is going to capitalize and take that second. He had a good start there as well. Of course, Kaya with that huge jump is going to have the advantage.
We got trouble on the back stretch.
And he's in the wall. It looks like he collected one more in the back there. I couldn't tell who that was.
Yeah, that was good. And we just mentioned the 7 of Robert DuPont. We're going to see who he gathered up, as we will be under caution here once again. And let's flip on over to this replay. 7 comes out of turn 2 here, which is, especially on colder tires, throttle control is huge. Gets a little loose, comes down, grabs that, inside retaining wall, and we can't really see from that angle who he collected. Let's see if we get a better camera angle on that, and just kind of see. We're gonna go back to that again.
I believe it was Matthew Jagger, if I'm correct here. Yeah, it's Matthew Jagger.
Yeah, just loose, very, very hard contact with the inside wall. It just pushes the car right up the track. And yeah, Matthew Jagger.
Very minimal contact with Matthew there, but Matthew was able to dodge early enough to avoid any more major damage there. But I did see some sparks there. I couldn't tell how much damage he's going to have on the truck, though.
Yeah, and that's what it's going to come down to here, as we are working. I believe this is our 4th caution here tonight, and we're past the halfway point. We've gotten to that point. Things I think the problem a lot of these guys might be having right now is we're going back and forth between caution and green flag laps, and it's just not giving a chance for heat to build up in them tires. And and you're trying to keep your position, or you're trying to make a position, and these trucks are just going right around on them.
Yeah, you've got a mix of old tires and new tires in the field with guys that have pitted. Then you've got heat cycles on tires, and the tires are cooled off. And when the tires heat up and cool off, it's not going to be quite the amount of grip level you had before when they get back up to temperature. And the more, as we mentioned, the more heat cycles that get into them, the more it affects that tire. And then because your pressures build up and drop. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. As we don't see many trucks here are going to pit, but that was very minimal damage considering, and we expected to get some looseness here on these restarts.
Yeah, especially that your top 6 are going to stay out, but it's something important to note that under the previous caution before this one, we did see Ernest King come down. He got fresh tires, so that's going to put him about 7 or 8 laps fresher tires than the guys in front. And Andrew Hefner, running in 5th right now, he just came in under this caution. So a couple of these guys towards the back of this group on a little bit fresher tires. And if they could string together a nice long green flag run like we saw in the beginning of this race, those guys could really, really benefit from that.
Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier, the draft will probably pick up here, especially these guys that have just come in and pitted, in the last 10 laps. They should draft together because, right now they've got 10, 11 lap, between 7 and 10 lap fresher tires than your leader, John Kaya. So I'm interested to see how this plays out with, 30 to go, coming to 29 to go this time by, and I expect us probably to get one to go here this time by.
Yeah, we should see the lights go out on the iRacing.com pace car, and this is this is the part of the race where I'm going to be very interested in, especially because we've got guys that are running up here that we don't always get to talk about. We got the 444 Peter Harborough up here, and Andrew Hefner has won a race. He's running up here. Cornelius Brown, we don't really talk about him too much. These guys are all running up in the front, and I'll be curious to see how these guys can handle running up front here with some of these leaders. But right now, George Rincon, I think right now is going to be the best truck to give the 99 a run for his money right now, and we're just going to have to see how things play out.
Yeah, as far as pit cycles, they're roughly on the same sets of tires here. He's in the catbird seat now, starting second. But with this many laps to go, I'm wondering how much Andrew Hefner and Ernest King are going to be able to capitalize with those fresher tires, especially 10 to 15 laps in from now, because we're looking right now at 29 to go. So it still could be anybody's ball game, especially in this top six here.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll get to see. Hopefully we get ourselves a nice little stretch going here, and see what happens. But Mike, why don't you go ahead, take us to green on this one?
It's like the pace cars getting ready to come in, and I expect the 99 probably to get a pretty good jump here. See how well the 28 is able to hold him on the outside of George Rincon. So see when 99 takes off. Kaya gets a good jump again. The 28 should be able to pull down. Yes, he's going to be able to maintain the second position right now, as John Kaya is going to lead him into turn one.
Yeah, held the field a little bit, but that's kind of the game you got to play, especially if we get to the point, where we're talking maybe green, white checkers toward the end of the race. You gotta do a little bit of a cat and mouse game here, where you can't be too predictable on how you're timing your restarts.
Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier, the 46 and 24 are showing a lot of speed here as we see them sitting in the back battling for, looks like, fourth position right now. They're going to try to capitalize with these fresh tires as quick as they can.
Yeah, we kind of figured that we would see that. The 46, as we do see him get a little loose, as they're running three abreast down the back straightaway. They finally get tucked in, and the 98 of Cornelius Brown is going to look to make a move on the inside. Has to check up a little bit, and the 19 of Randy Coaching had to check up as well.
Well, don't look now, but the truck sitting in the third truck back is looks like the 88 of Nick Ritter. If he can get around these two trucks, that'll put him back on the lead lap, and if another caution comes out, he will get his lap back. Or I'm not sure if he's 1 or 2 laps down right now. So
yeah, that could be huge for Nick Rader, as he's showing 2 laps down. But even being 2 laps down, he's going to fight to try to get to 1 lap down, because the way this race is turning out, I mean, we could have two cautions that could really help him get back to that lead lap point, as he only has John Kay just to get around, and he's going to be back to just being scored 1 lap down. So he's really fighting hard.
Yeah, and this many laps to go, you never give up here, because you never know what can happen in the next 10, 15 laps. Every one of these guys come in there, week after week to run the best they can, and they're going to do what they can to try to score the best positions they can. So I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. Is probably Kaya's not going to fight him too hard here. Just let him go. He's got a little bit faster truck right now. But it looks like George Rincon is going to try to follow him by to take the lead here, coming through 3 and 4.
Yeah, and I was just going to point out that it didn't kind of work out that way, but that's exactly what was going through the head on the 28 team is, hey, let's try to use that 88 and suck on past John. Wasn't able to complete the move, but we're closing in on crunch time here, Mike. 23 laps to go. And, if you're that 28 crew, you feel like you have a pretty good truck. You're on about the same pit cycle. If you could hold, Andrew Hefner back and Ernest King, just kind of run your race right now. And then, with about 10 to 15 to go, start thinking about making your move.
Yeah, me personally, I'm going to be sitting there looking at the line I'm running, look at the line he's running. I'm going to start trying to do a little searching here with that losing position and try to see if I can gain a little time in this corner or that corner. Any little thing now, information-wise, that can help me with, say, 10 or 15 to go that I can use to capitalize on. Don't want to show my hand too early, though.
Right, you're absolutely right, and who's really benefiting from Nick Rader getting back, a lap back is the 99 John Kaya, because he could just have that 88 pull him around this racetrack and make him even faster than he already is.
Yeah, it looks like the 46 is closing to the back of the 28 here, so it looks like the top four are going to be running pretty close together here, with the 88 of Nick Rader just pulling them along in the draft here, so things might tighten up in the next 5 or 6 laps here.
Yeah, it's very, very important to mention, the 46 and the 24, Ernest King and Andrew Hefner, on, about 10 lap newer tires roughly. If I'm those guys right now, my goal is to save the best you can, because you already have better tires. And, save them towards the end. Give these guys a run for their money, when we're, under 10 laps to go.
Yeah, and as you see, the 46 now was trying a little bit higher line there in 1 and 2. Should give him a little bit more momentum here coming down the backstretch. I'm curious to see if anybody's going to try to run the second lane up here in 3 and 4 and try to pull to that truck in front of them on the exit, because you should be able to hold a little bit more speed, but it all depends on the tire wear there.
Yeah, absolutely. As you see, the 24 on the inside of the 46, Andrew Hefner, and he's going to grab that spot as they head down into turn number 1. But yeah, we haven't really seen that second line come into play in 3 and 4 yet, and I'd be interested to see if anybody's willing to give it a shot, especially now that there is some rubber down on the track, and it might come into play, when we get under 10 laps to go, and it could be very beneficial.
Yeah, and the 24 Ernest King was able to capitalize and take that third position. He got a good run off the low side of 1 and 2 that time, which gave him the advantage as the 46 was sliding up the track.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, folks, thanks for tuning in. We are under our 25 lap to go. Go ahead, throw on in the chat. Who do you like to win this thing tonight? Me and Mike, we're going to make our picks right now. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to toss one up here. I like the 24 Ernest King in this thing.
I like the 24 Ernest King. I just, seeing at this point with the 28, the closer the lap tires here, this is a tough decision, but I think I'm going to go with probably the 28 right now, as I see him closing the back of the 99.
Okay, race picks are in. We've got 16 laps here to go. We're going to see. We're going to crown a winner, obviously. John Kaya, right now holding on to a very slim lead. He's actually going to make a move on the 88 of Nick Rader, as they got the 5 AJ DeMarzo very slow. He's been beat up all night long. They're going to get by him no problem. And that'll put Nick Rader back to being 2 laps down, and kind of, I'll tell you what, John, with a very smart move, being able to get by, it's going to put the 88 in between him and the 28 of George Rincon.
Yeah, it was almost like he was listening to the broadcast and heard her say that and said, "Okay, guys, I found another gear. I'm taking off now." It just almost perfect timing. He found some more speed there, and looks like he's trying to get a bigger gap here.
Yeah, absolutely. As these guys come down the back straightaway, and if I'm the 28 of Rincon right now, my goal is I got to get around that 88, because I'm being used as like a pick almost right now. I was he was right on the back bumper of John Kaya, and now they put the a lap truck in between the two of them, and he's got to fight to get past them.
Yeah, right now is where he's got to find some speed here and get by that 88 because, as I mentioned, it's just like Kaya just found another gear there and just in a matter of a lap got by the 88 and just slowly, is starting to gap himself more and more and more. I'm wondering if he was saving tires there, especially with those cautions, knowing, that him not pitting, with his strategy here it's going to be interesting to see how these next 12 laps play out, especially with tires here.
Right. As we take a look on back. Ernest King side by side with George Rincon as they almost touch coming through turns 3 and 4 and down the front straightaway through the quad oval, and it looks like going down into turn 1 it is going to be Ernest King's going to be able to grab the second spot away from George Rincon.
It looks like we got a tight battle. I'm looking a little bit further back here, 7th and 8th between Matthew Jaggard and the gentleman, the newer guy we talked about earlier, and that's Caleb Ellswick here. They're battling back here for the 7th position here.
Right, and obviously these guys, aren't going to probably get up there and battle for the win, but these are very important positions to know, as especially Jacob Ellswick coming out here trying to make a little bit of a name for himself, and he started 15th and he's up up to 8th, so having a very good run tonight. And even though these guys are scored the first and second truck one lap down, good points night for these guys. Come out and get a top 10, and that'll help build a little momentum going into next week.
Yeah, it was a big moment there for Cornelius Bryan getting the wall a little bit off 3 and 4. He slid through the infield grass, no contact with anybody else, and was able to keep the truck going here. And looks like he's going to be able to get it up back to speed. So.
Yeah, that was a good save. I think if you're the 99 John Kay, the last thing you want to see is that yellow flag fly, as you got a pretty decent lead over the 24 Ernest King, with still got Nick Rader in between the two of them. And I think John, looking with 8 laps to go, just kind of set the cruise control, hit your marks, run that line. He's still able to hold that bottom line, through most of 1 and 2, as that gives him such a power run off. And I think right now, John, it's funny that neither of us picked him to win this race. He looks like the best truck out there right now.
Yeah, and last time by, Ernest was about a tenth faster, but with this many laps to go, I don't think he's going to be able to close almost a 1.7 second interval here that John Chaos got. Because with him and Radar pushing behind him right now, just enough to draft, that's going to help him build that gap a little bit more.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, a tenth faster isn't going to get the job done with 7 laps to go. I mean, you got to be, upwards of a half a second quicker to get there, and still have enough time to make the pass. So, John Kaya looking to close this race out, and if he does, which we think he will, barring any kind of craziness, and it's been one of those races where we can't rule that out. He'll become just the second multi-race winner this year alongside AJ DeMarzo. So, John Kaya, second in points, chasing AJ down. He wants this win bad. And, like I said, barring anything crazy, as we have 5 to go, it looks like he's going to be able to grab it.
Yeah, it looked like I was just looking through the field. Peter Harbour was running in 5th, just came down pit road, and looks like he got 4 tires here and some fuel. So, I'm not sure if he was running low on fuel, running close on fuel, or his tires had just reached that point.
Yeah, and that's the thing, even though you're running, up there in the top 5, if those tires are shot, sometimes it's just best to come down, give that spot up, because, what you don't want to happen is those tires give way on you and you end up in the wall, or worse yet, bring out a caution. So that's just the way it is sometimes. You just gotta hunker down, give that position up, and just live to fight another day next week.
Yeah, as John Chaos just still steadily just pulling away from the field here. He's almost a 2.5 second gap now and gaining here. So he saved a little bit something in the tires and the tank there, and now he's just like you said, he's got it on cruise control. He's still working that bottom line of 1 and 2 so well, and 3 and 4 he's able to just keep it down the bottom, and it's just building that gap for him.
Yeah, absolutely. As you know, he's going to come out of turn number 4 this time by popsicle sticks in the air. Right here tonight, Texas Motor Speedway, the SpeedyCash.com 220. John Kaya 2 more times around, and he will grab his second race win of the year as he's, got almost a 3-second lead on second place Ernest King.
Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier, Ernest King is running second. George Rincon is sitting in third right now, up 11 positions from the start, and Andrew Hefner is in fourth. Then your first truck a lap down will be in fifth, and that's Matthew Jaggard, who's sitting in the fifth place right now.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of these guys having a good run. As white flag is in the air for 99 John Kaya, he'll take the Smartway Remodeling LLC white flag one more time around as John Kaya will come down the backstretch for the final time tonight. Enter turns 3 and 4, and in impressive fashion, able to stay out of trouble all night long as he comes out of turn number 4. It'll be the 99 John Deere Toyota Tundra of John Kaya winning here tonight from Texas.
What an impressive run he put on here in those last 20, 30 laps to just get back by and just put a gap out there. As we saw the trucks tighten up there as we were making our race picks, and then he just separated himself away from the rest of the field there.
Yeah, very, very impressive. That last stretch, I think he had a feeling that, once we went green the final time that they were going to be able to really, really stretch it out. And I think he knew that. He saved his tires, for that point, and was able to just, put the burners on and, walk away with this race win. As we're going to take a look at him, he's going to burn it down here at Texas, and a well-deserved win. John, very, very strong tonight in an impressive race.
Yeah, very impressive run. And now he's, like you said, he's going to burn them down. He doesn't need that motor again next week. And talking about next week will be Rockingham. So that's going to be another interesting race because it's a highly technical track. So I'm interested to see how that's going to turn out.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to kind of change gears, finally come back to a 1.5 miles in a really great race. But, we're going to go down to a mile track like the Rock in a track where, you said it best, very, very technical track. And, it's going to take a lot of skill. It's going to take a lot of practice, as we've seen these guys all year long do a pretty good job, getting the practice in when they need to. And learning the track, and I expect a very, very exciting race.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great race, and that's gonna be another one that I'm pretty sure tires are gonna play a huge factor into there. But I'm excited to get a chance to talk to these guys here shortly.
Yeah, absolutely, folks. We're going to talk to our podium finishers. We're going to take a quick commercial break, let these guys climb out of the trucks, and we'll have your podium finishers right after this short commercial break. So stay with us.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome back in Sim Racing fans. We're live here at Texas Motor Speedway where we just saw John Kaya cross the line, bringing home his second win of the year. And we're going to jump right in and get these guys in here, Mike. I think we're all excited to hear from them. Let's go ahead and let's talk to our third place finisher, and I believe Michael Sheffield. You're with George Rincon.
Hey, George, is Michael up in the booth? You got a copy?
Yep, I'm here.
Well, good job tonight on your third place finish here. I know it was 2 spots shorter than where you wanted to be there. How were you feeling in the truck tonight?
Actually, every lap that went by, it felt a lot better. I'll first want to say congrats to John for that win. That was a great win, and Ernest for getting that second spot. We had some great battles on this track. I want to thank Smartway for helping us out with this season, as well as DeMarzo Gears and Mike for really running this show, getting everybody together and making sure everything's done right. So it was a good race. I had a lot of fun. That's what I'm here for. I'm happy with the third place. I think I started in 14th or something like that. I just don't qualify for. I'm not a qualifier, so. But well, yeah, and thank you guys for what you do too, man. You guys do a great job, and I love watching those YouTube videos in the morning with my coffee.
Well, I'm not a good qualifier either, but you know, the qualifying lap matters, but it all matters where you bring it home. If you will, just talk to me real quick about how was turn 1 and 2 tonight later in the run as the run went on. Was it harder to get it to the bottom and hold it there, or feeling loose coming off, or?
No, actually the truck was pretty good the whole run. I would say probably at the end of the, when the tires I only put one set of tires on. So at the end of the tire run, it started pushing a little bit if you didn't get the corner entry right. But the truck was good. I mean, I could take, 1 and 2 pushed up, 3 and 4. I could hug the white line and didn't have any problem there. If anything, it probably was a little bit loose coming off there, but one bounces out the other. But no, the track was good. I mean, it went through a lot of changes through the practice sessions from last Thursday, from the earlier practice session today. It's just really weird how the practice sessions differ, and then you have to adjust, and I'm still learning this stuff. So real happy.
Well, once again, congratulations, your third place finish. You brought that number 28 Goodyear 3-wide racing Chevy Silverado. And with the podium finish, once again, I'm going to give the microphone one more time and let you give any more special shout-outs, thank yous to anybody you want.
Yep. No, I just want to thank everybody that's in this league. Everybody runs me pretty clean, pretty respectful. I hope they feel the same way about me. Again, thanks, Mike, because we kind of co-own this deal, but it's Mike really. He knows the ins and outs, and a real big thank you to Ernest, because he does a lot for the league too. He knows a lot about what's going on. And I also want to thank Beal for coming out to Texas tonight. It really means a lot that he came and joined us in the race, and I know that if he sticks with it, we're going to have a lot of fun together. And thank you guys for the what you guys do and commentating and all that. You guys do a great job.
Well, I appreciate it, and hopefully next week at Rockingham we'll get a chance to talk to you after the race again. So good luck to you. Go celebrate your podium finish here tonight, and like I said, hopefully we get a chance to talk to you next week.
Thank you.
All right, that was your third place finisher tonight, George Rincon, in that 28, Mike, and a very good run from him. A guy that we've been keeping our eye on and able to lock himself in a podium finish, and that just adds to the confidence level. Like you said, going into next week in Rockingham.
Yeah, they're closing out the race there with 15 to go. Looked like he was going to be able to have something there to make a run for the league, but like we said, John just found something and just pulled away. So a very good run for George there tonight. So I'm excited for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's grab our second place finisher tonight in the 24, Ernest King. Hey, Ernest, this is Steve and Mike up in the year-end booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Mike, they dub you Old Man River out here, but I'll tell you what, you were driving that thing like a young rookie towards the end there. The cautions, the pit strategy kind of fell like into your lap, with the way everything lined up. Tell us about what was going through your head after that last caution. You had one of the freshest sets of tires out there. John just able to. I mean, it seemed like he found just another gear. But what was that race like for you down towards the end?
I tell you, once I made it through, the mayhem on the backstretch is where I was, that was my lucky part of the race there. And I knew getting that fresh set of tires, I wasn't going to stop again. I had enough fuel. I knew that. And I knew I was strong. This is my best qualifying of the season. So I put in a lot of practice for last week after the race, and then we did some over the weekend, and then today we started one at 6 o'clock, and I messed with a lot of, the weird thing is wheel range, map range really did a lot for me on this track. But he kind of saved the little tires. I was talking to him, and I was having to go, full board to get around George and all the lap traffic that was there. But all in all, I was hammering it.
Yeah, you sure were, especially towards the end. Get you to grab a second place finish. Now, I want to talk about we've been on what seems like a wild ride through this awesome schedule. First mile and a half since the opener. Now we break away from that. We go back to a mile track in Rockingham, which is a track that's a great track to run. It's somewhat unpopular anymore. What do you take from a race like this, and kind of shift gears, and what do you do to prepare for a track like Rockingham?
Honestly, absolutely nothing. Rockingham is actually a track that I like. I ran a few ARCA seasons on Rockingham, and I know the ins and outs of it. I know it's really bumpy. You really have to use a lot of throttle control there. This is really, I think, a good, strong portion of the season for me here. The road courses I'm not really that good at. I kept my streak going with the top 10s and all that through the year. So Rockingham, I'm feeling pretty confident about. Just got to, keep an egg under the pedal and be smart like I have all season. And I think I'll do myself some good. Keep it rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. A very good point. Egg under the throttle in a track like Rockingham pays huge dividends. Well, Ernest, we've been, looking forward to talking to you all season long. We finally get a chance to. And, I'm going to toss the mic over to you before you go enjoy this second place finish, and give any shout outs you want to.
Sure. 3 Wide Racing, of course. George, Mike. I raced with those guys over in console, and I came over to iRacing a little bit in between both of them guys, and I'd like to thank them. AJ DeMarjo Gear's huge for this season. Smartway with Randy and all that, and RKR Motorsports and them guys put a lot of time in, a lot of practice to make sure that we get some people coming in, some new faces and stuff like that. So just everybody as a whole, and hopefully we can make this thing. You guys too for putting on the show. I remember in the beginning we kind of threw it together. So great job for everyone, and look forward to talking to you guys again after Rockingham. Maybe I can move up a spot and be on that first place side of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll keep rooting for you here, and we're gonna let you go enjoy this second place finish, and hopefully, you never know, Ernest. Maybe next week we'll be talking to you in Victory Lane.
Still got to worry about AJ and Nick, man. Them guys are strong. All right, guys, you have a good one.
That was your second place finisher, Ernest King, Mike. Very proud for him to get up there. Ran a very good race. Had the pit strategy. The cautions kind of kind of fall his way, and that's sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and I think that's kind of how it ended up for him.
Yeah, I mean, second place here at Texas is a good race overall. Kept pushing, he had a little damage. Looks like he came in, got it repaired. Made a good call on pit stops tonight. Just kept pushing all night long. Pushed his way up to the second place, but as we mentioned, John just had the truck here tonight. So I'm happy for Ernest, so that he's able to come home with that second place finish here tonight. That's going to set him up good going into Rockingham.
Absolutely. Speaking of John, I know everybody wants to hear from him. We both do. Let's bring him on in here. Michael Sheffield, you're with John Kaya.
Hey, John, this is Michael up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do. What's up, guys?
What's going on, man? First thing I want to say is congratulations on your win tonight. You put that nice, very good-looking John Deere number 99 Toyota in victory lane. Can you kind of run us through what you're going through on the track here tonight?
The track had more grip than I thought it would, which made me pretty happy. I felt like the racing was pretty good in the beginning there between me, AJ, Nick, and Will. I don't really know what to think of the race. I mean, I'm happy I won. Felt like that was just interesting, man.
Yeah, and I talked about it pre-race. Especially with Texas. There's a lot of cookie cutter tracks, here and there, especially a mile and a half. But Texas with that low 1 and 2 here, you were able to maintain a low run on 1 and 2. And able to maintain the bottom on 3 and 4. And I talked about it pre-race that was going to be the difference. And there towards the end, everybody was tightening up. But did you save a little tires there? Because it's like you found another gear and you took off.
Yeah, I don't really care if people pass me with, on the start or anything like that. I'm not racing them. I'm racing the track. And I was saving tires, and at the end there, I was saving tires. I wanted George to think that, okay, I'm catching him. I wanted him to use up as much tires as he could. It's kind of like a psychological game,
I understand that.
It seemed like it worked in my favor. So
I'm a long runs guy myself, so I understand exactly what you mean. You don't care if anybody gets by you. You know your game plan in your mind, and that's what you wanted to execute, right?
Absolutely. And same thing happened tonight that happened in Bristol. I stayed out while everyone was pitting. And the yellow came out, and it worked in my favor yet again. So I think everyone should learn from this now that they should just use up what they got and then go pit.
Yeah, and I mean, that was, like you mentioned earlier, the very beginning was, we knew draft was going to play a huge effect in the beginning. I was wondering who was going to save a little bit of tire, who was going to burn it up. But looked like once you got out front, you were able to maintain, and then, the cautions came out, all the pit cycles. Yep. And the only thing that concerned me was, as temperature cycles on the tires.
Right.
But by saving that, what you had left. So congratulations on that win tonight. I'm going to give you the microphone here and let you do your thank yous and shout outs here.
I just want to thank all our sponsors. I want to thank the ERN guys. You guys put on a great show every week. I'd like to thank our league president, Michael, and thank everyone that came out to race tonight. It was a blast, and I hope I could talk to you guys next week too. Rockingham, 100 laps, boys.
Now, just one quick question real quick. Talking about Rockingham, I meant to ask you, how do you feel about Rockingham?
I never actually raced there in the trucks or any vehicle, really. I've done practice laps, so it's going to be interesting racing around people. I feel pretty confident. I have the same game plan. Really, it's just to save tires and let the race come to me. We'll see if I talk to you guys last.
Well, I hope to talk to you again, and next week at Rockingham. And knowing you, I think you'll put enough practice in, as well as all these other guys. And
absolutely, yep.
So good luck to you. Go celebrate that victory tonight. It was a well-deserved victory, and like I said, look forward to hopefully talking to you next week.
Awesome. All right, guys, take care.
All right, your race winner in that 99 John Deere Toyota Tundra, that's John Kaya. And, Mike, just to get a kind of closing word on tonight's race before we look forward to next week. John, very, very dominant. You know, you heard him right there. Save some tire towards the end. Trying to get George to bite on it, and you know he just went to work, and that's what you got to do in a race like this. You got to really try to save tire for the end, as we saw, and he was able to do a really good job and pulls away at the end for a very, very nice victory.
Yeah, I mean, as he said, he had the mindset going into it. He knew what he wanted to do, and he executed it. Like he said, he wasn't worried about anybody passing him. He just wanted to save those tires and put himself out towards the front there, and he set sail at the end. So, great run tonight, and overall, an outstanding race.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Well, let's take a look at your official race results from tonight's SpeedyCash.com. 220 here from Texas Motor Speedway, coming away with the win. You just heard from him, the 99 of John Kea. Coming home second tonight, Ernest King in the 24. Third will be George Rincon in the 28, followed by Andrew Hefner coming home in fourth tonight in that 46. Matthew Jaggard in the 2. He'll grab fifth tonight. Newcomer Caleb Ellswick, very good run in the 66. He comes home in sixth. Peter Harborough in the 444. He comes home in seventh tonight. And eighth, Nick Rader in the 88. A little bit of trouble, but still able to manage the top 10. And Randy Coaching will come home in ninth in that 19. Mike, why don't you take us the rest of the way?
The 82 of Mike Everidge will bring home your 10th place finisher here tonight. Cornelius Bryan and the number 98 will bring home 11th. 12th will go to the number 5, AJ DiMarzio. Just had a good run early, just, unfortunate situations, wrong place, wrong time. Robert DuPont will bring home the 13th place finish. Carlos Ramos in the 21 will bring home 14th. David Connell in the 64 will bring home 15th. 16th will go to William George in the number 9, and running at the field will be Robert Millen Jr. in the number 8.
And that is your official race results from tonight. And before we close this thing out, Mike, I want to take a look at what's coming up here. Next week we go to Rockingham. We know very technical track, and then we really change gears and go to Watkins Glen. Bring another road course in. And then we have stops at Vegas, and our first dirt race of the year will be at Eldora. If you're a driver right now in this league, and let's say you don't have a win, which one of these tracks you got circled on your list to really, really try to go out there and grab a win?
Me personally, it would be Rockingham for me. But you've got some drivers that, and that's what I love about this league is it's so many different types of tracks. It's so many different weeks. It's almost like a shock to the system. You've got guys that are good at short tracks. You've got guys that are good at road courses. You got guys that'll probably be really, really good at dirt tracks. You got guys that are good at mile and a halves. So it's going to be interesting to see, who the dominant factor is at each type of track here, looking at the schedule going forward. Like we said, Rockingham, then we go road course, then we come back to a mile and a half, then we go to dirt. So it's going to be definitely very entertaining and interesting to see what the next couple of weeks brings.
Yeah, absolutely, folks. Hang on. It's going to be another wild ride. We get to go to a lot of exciting tracks here in this series. That's why we love to call it. If you love the action that you saw here tonight, which if you didn't, you ought to, because it's been great. Head on over to Evolution Racing Network on YouTube. Please subscribe, hit the bell. You'll get notified when these guys go live every Tuesday night, 9:35 Eastern. Also, head on over to Facebook. We do weekly updates on all the leagues. We've got some exciting giveaways coming up in the future, so head on over to Facebook, Evolution Racing Network. Give us a like. Also, hit the bell over there. We'll notify you when we go live on Facebook. Next up this week on Thursday night, the doubleheader Thursday night throwdown, ARCA Series live 8 o'clock Eastern, and the Truck Series goes live at 9:30 Eastern. You got Michael Sheffield and Craig A. Burns on the call for that one, and we're going to close things out here tonight. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. For Michael Sheffield, I'm Steve Carpel. We will see you on the next one.